What is up, and welcome to Steps for Success. My name is Karl Smith, founder of Next Level Success, where we empower entrepreneurs, business, and sales professionals to take their businesses to the next level and create even more success. Today, we have a very special treat for you guys. We brought in a friend, a business coach, a business mentor of mine for years, and I'm here in his city, in the city of Toronto, and we have the chance to chop it up. We have a chance to really dive into his story, some of his biggest life lessons, and what it's going to take for you guys to really elevate your results for this year in 2026. I'm really excited about this interview. I'm going to have the chance to ask some questions that I've been waiting years to be able to ask and find the answers to, and you guys are going to get those answers right here, right now. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, make sure you stay tuned, because it's about to go down. Nathan, welcome to the show, my man.
Great to see you, man. Welcome to Toronto, brother.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Excited that you were able to make some time so that we can talk, we could chop it up, catch up a little bit, and I'm definitely excited. We had the chance to get together, have lunch just a couple days ago, and it's been really exciting to see all the new changes that have happened since we've been able to last speak, and all the things that are happening in your life and with your business. So I'm excited to dive into all those things with you.
That's awesome. Well, first of all, welcome to my city. Good to have you on the Canadian side, and look forward to getting to talk about each other and see the success that I've seen you've gone through. I remember when you were a young man. How old were you when we first met?
I was probably 21, 22.
22-year-old, young, hungry, looking for success, and to see your development of where you've come from to where you are today. My hat's off to you. You've totally grown into a successful entrepreneur, coach, and man overall in terms of leading by example. I'm really proud of what you've been able to do over the years.
Thank you. I appreciate that for sure. So I'm excited. First, I want to introduce you to our group here today. For those that haven't had the chance to meet you, they don't know about you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Cool. So Nathan Goldberg, originally grew up in Montreal, Canada. Background, I've always been someone that's been entrepreneurial. Hungry for opportunity, didn't really kind of know what was going on originally. Went to school, was never really the big student. I did about 1 year of university and just wasn't so excited about that. Ended up waitering and bartending, and back in the old days, if you're making $1,000 a week cash, you were rich. So
That's true.
In the old days, we didn't pay taxes on the tips back in the day. Government, my name is not Nathan, by the way, but it was a lot of money. So we, did that path, and while I was waitering and bartending, was always looking for opportunity. And when opportunity knocks with the right timing, with the right mentors, you got to grab it. And personally, for myself, my first, eye-opening into the entrepreneurial world was in the direct sales space.
No, that's how we all got started. We're going to definitely dive into that. But network marketing was a huge eye-opener for me, right? It took me from a world where I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, anything about free enterprise, anything about having a chance to serve a community, really build a product, service, build a business, and have a chance to work towards creating freedom, And that was never a concept. It was never even a thought. It was always trade time for money and all that.
Okay, get that good job, climb the corporate ladder, and hopefully have a good pension. That's
we're all exactly right. That's the world. Yeah, that's the world that we're all brought up in, right? Especially back then when the internet wasn't what it is today.
Sure not.
Right? It's just there's so much information that's out there right now where people can easily go online. If you weren't reading books, you were cooked back then, right? It's you didn't hear Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You didn't learn about these philosophies and attitudes and principles with money and business and success. It was over for you. You were just going to be stuck in that rat race. So now there's information everywhere. But tell us a little bit more about what you're doing right now these days. I know you have your business that you're building. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So for the last 4 years, I've been blessed. We've opened up our own insurance brokerage, and basic shameless plug, Gold Standard Insurance. And,
there you go.
If you want the best standard in the marketplace for the best value with the best service, give us a shout. But we specialize in house, car, and business insurance. I had a chance to partner up with someone that I knew from the original direct sales business that I was involved with, the last one I was involved with, and the young man, his name is Sean Turcotte. Sean went out to build one of the fastest growing insurance brokerages actually in all of Canada. And the company is out of Quebec. It's called OVC Insurance, and they grew to about $110 million in size last year.
Wow.
And
wow, 110 million,
110 million, brother.
Yeah, that's insane.
And when you see a 36-year-old make $50 million in less than 10 years, you're like, tell me more about that, that insurance business, right? Success leaves clues. And, obviously I didn't know much about insurance, to be very upfront, Karl, but when you see someone able to build an empire that has recurring revenue and equity and something that you can sell as a real guaranteed asset, I wanted to know more. So we made a decision to sit down, go through it, and what I saw, obviously let's be upfront, insurance is not a sexy space, and everyone grows up, I want to sell insurance when I get older, but the reason I decided to do this originally is that, first of all, car, house, and business insurance, you want to drive a car, you have to have insurance. You want to own a home, if you have a mortgage, you have no choice that you need to have insurance on it. So I saw the basic principles that kind of we agreed on back in the old days was, essential service, you have to have it. It's a good industry to be in.
Yeah.
Second of all, I love the fact that it's recurring. In any business that you do, my tip to anyone watching this, whatever it is, I don't care what it is, needs to be some kind of recurring revenue. Okay? Get paid over and over and over again on something that you did. So either subscription based or recurring based of some sort. And obviously the last piece is you need to have equity. If you don't own a piece of what you're doing, you're building someone else's dream, period. Okay? And so I saw a chance to start with that and started like anybody else. My friends heard I was going to go do this. Well, you're going to go get your insurance license? Yep. So I got the license and I sat in an internship with like 6 other guys under the age of 25 that could have been my sons. And that was kind of, interesting. And I told my friends, listen, you got to start at the bottom. If you want to be successful in any business, you need to be able to do everything in that company from the bottom up and never be too small to do the small things so you can get the big things, which we all know. So started like anybody else and basically sold insurance from Toronto into Montreal for 1 year to learn my craft. You want me to own a company. If I don't know how to do everything from the bottom up, there's no real long-term success there. So did that for about a year, learned the skills and how to do that. And then we decided to, once things were ready to rock, we opened up in the Toronto marketplace just about 4 years ago. And now we've been blessed to build a multi-million-dollar insurance business over the last 4 years.
That's insane, man. Good for you. I think number one, having the opportunity to learn from someone who had so much success,
for sure,
huge, right? And then having the, I guess, the humility to start from the bottom with other people that you said, could be, your kids, they could have been your sons, and having to go through that, because many times people that have had the success that you've had in business and direct sales, network marketing, they don't want to start a brand new thing. They don't want to have to go from the ground up, right? Oh, let me start an internship position somewhere. Let me learn the basics. Usually it's, give me a piece of this, give me equity in this from the beginning. I want this much money up front and all of that. So I think it's great. And it actually shows that the skills you have are yours, right? It's the skills, you own them, and you have the ability to utilize them in any opportunity and rebuild a multi-million-dollar business as a result of that.
Well, once you have the skills, obviously I didn't have any skills in insurance, but the skills of, obviously how to sell, how to connect, how to build relationships, how to recruit, how to develop, that's transferable anywhere. And that's why obviously when I was approached to take a look at the insurance business, they saw what I was able to do in my previous projects and saw that if I brought that same skill set, same drive to this project, there'd be, limitless, possibilities. And, that's, I would say exactly what you said. I find too many people let their ego stop them. For me to go back and start and get the license like anyone else, but how do you want me to do something that I can't tell, me train a staff of people to sell insurance if I can't sell insurance? That makes, absolutely no sense. And
absolutely none.
And it was, it's obviously humbling. And, when we opened up here 4 years ago, it was the whopping staff of 1. Myself, the big vision that I'm going to make this thing happen. And I was very blessed that I was able to recruit a service manager to the office and painted this picture. She was working already for like a big brokerage, and I painted this picture saying, listen, we're starting now and we're going to build this into a $100 million brokerage, and you have a chance to be part of something from the ground floor that eventually you will own equity shares in the brokerage. And then I go, how long have you been with the current brokerage? She goes, I don't know, about 10 plus years. You own any equity there? She goes, absolutely not. And I go, well, you'll ever own a piece? She was like, no. I want you to come join me and build something of the future. And I was very blessed that she joined me in that vision. You paint a picture of where you're going and you have strong conviction, people want to follow people that know where they're going. And that
Yes.
was what was able to let me start the business, because there was a lot of things I had no clue. But if I didn't have her on the team, and I think the first year without having any experience, I think I've probably sold about, I don't know, $1.5 million worth of insurance for car insurance just to get the ball rolling, right?
Wow. So first year, 1.5 million worth of insurance right out the gates.
Yeah.
Good for you. Was that when you were in Montreal or
I
were
was
here in
I
Toronto?
was here in Toronto. You know, you got to just, it's a numbers game in sales, right? It's like how many people do you put in the pipe? How many people do you present whatever your offer is with conviction? And yeah, and very simply, I just basically, we teach anyone in sales, obviously start with a warm market. Obviously start with the people you know that you have a relationship with, that trust you and so forth. So I started with that. That's how I practiced initially in the Toronto marketplace. And then anything you do long term, you need to build obviously referral centers. Obviously, we've always heard in sales, where's my prospects coming from? So you have to develop a system that generates a recurring source of leads on an ongoing basis. And we have a system that we've developed to generate leads on a recurring basis.
That's awesome. So I've been doing insurance for several years now too. I know it's a challenging business for people that aren't, used to rolling up their sleeves, right, and getting into work and all of that. And even for people that do, you learn the skills, you get a system going. For some people, it could be a little bit challenging, right? And one of the biggest challenges that we've seen is usually it's, the lead generation aspect. Where's my next lead coming from? Where's my next client coming from? So what are things that you do to get your leads coming in the door, if you don't mind sharing?
For sure. So first of all, send $9.99 to, no, I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm just joking, brother.
Take out your
No, of
checkbooks,
course.
guys.
So, it's funny, ironically, you said that, because I think I just recently, I sat down with a VP of a large insurance company here in the marketplace, and they, before you get a contract, they want to know kind of how you do business. And every time we met with one of these large insurance carriers, they always ask me the same thing: how do you generate your leads and so forth? And they're kind of shocked when we tell them we spend zero money on lead generation. We do no online marketing. There is no funnels. There is no buying leads or any of the above. And they were kind of like shocked, because everyone in the industry, in my space, usually in house and car insurance in particular, the industry shifted more away from the old school, where you built a relationship with a community and you farmed the area and you basically hunted for business, where the industry is now more of a call center culture, where the people have very little skills in terms of sales skills, and they just sit there and are basically responding to a phone call. They do a quote like a robot, and they offer what they have. In the industry, I would probably say statistically, I don't know the exact number, but I would say somewhere around 70% of the industry in my space now is like that, where there's no real skills in sales.
Yeah, I've seen that. And usually, and I do a lot of, we do a lot of interviewing, right, for the company that I'm working with based out of Cali. And the number one question that we usually get for these guys that come in, oh, I already have my insurance license. I have one question. And hey, are you guys going to give me leads, right? And are the calls coming in? And so it goes exactly what you're saying, because people are not used to hunting. They don't know what it's like to hunt. They don't have the skills to hunt. And for us in network marketing especially, and we'll get around to that, but it's like, if you didn't learn how to hunt, you weren't going to eat.
For sure.
You couldn't survive unless you knew how to hunt. But if you learned to hunt, you would never go hungry.
I agree with you, absolutely. That's what's
Right.
funny, the same thing you said. Our philosophy in general is we don't hire people that have insurance licenses, okay? Because they have the same mindset. Give me leads, I'll just be the robot and do the quote and offer it out. And that doesn't really work long term. For our model, doesn't work. And I mean, if it did, I would just generate leads myself, and I'd hire someone that I'd pay them a minimum wage and have them do so,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But for us, I mean, generating leads, I really believe it's relationship based. So I'll give you some ideas what we do in our specific space. So if we just looked at, okay, well, how can we solve a problem? In any industry, if you can solve a problem, there's money associated to follow with that. And we look at my space, well, cars, let's say cars. If you're buying a brand new car, they can't let the car leave the car dealership without an insurance policy, because the lender will not let the car leave the dealership. So very simply, and one of the groups that we build relationships with is car finance managers, okay, or car salespeople. Well, same thing, especially in Toronto, there's a friction point. Insurance is very, very high in this marketplace. So if we could find a solution to get a policy in place that made sense in terms of obviously value and price, basically philosophy we have is, hey, Mr. Finance Manager, do you currently have an employee working for you as an assistant to help close your deals more effectively? and help you maximize your sale at your current dealership. So as we build that relationship, well, a good dealership, a finance manager will probably put out 40 to 60 cars a month out on the road. If you could build a strong enough relationship and show value to both him and his clients, there's potentially 50 leads a month from one finance manager.
Just one, yeah.
Right, and a good dealership will have 4 to 5 of them. Right, so it's a philosophy. Yes, there's going to be a bit of a cold call component where you're going to have to build that rapport and learn to develop relationships with them. But that's an example of one source of having, because once you have one good person that loves what you're doing in the finance manager, they're always going to send you leads.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic right there. It's
Right.
a great idea. And so, it's definitely different than people getting involved in the insurance business and wanting to be order takers, right? So it's like, I just want the calls to come in. And then it's like, well, why do we have to pay you a commission for that, right? Why do we have to pay you, especially such high commissions? We were talking about it then.
Yeah.
And how do your commissions compare to other people getting involved in the insurance business for other brokerages?
Every industry, breaks up the pie differently, right? And some people like my model, some people don't like our model, but our model is very simple. Salespeople, their job is to sell. Okay, and we don't not really want them to do a ton of paperwork and a ton of customer service and so forth. Our model is we don't want any of the sales guys dealing with that. So we have a separate person that we pay that is what we call the TSR, customer service rep, and all their job is to key in the information to the portals. They're not licensed. We don't have to pay them crazy money. They just order entry for that. We want the guys to focus solely on selling and prospecting. Prospecting and selling every single day is what we want them to focus on.
No, that's great. That's great. Keeps them focused on.
Yeah, and you were saying about commissions. I kind of forgot what you said there. So usually I would say, most companies would pay something like 50-ish% of whatever. So whatever sale comes in, so the carrier pays us, and usually 50% of that varies, is paid to the broker normally. And then they're going to pay some kind of trailer, some kind of renewal of some sort, 20% usually, 25% in some cases for most brokerages. Well, what we do differently is we start them off at 80% commission right out of the gate.
Wow.
And based on sales and sliding scale, they do some real numbers. We're willing to pay 100% of the first upfront commission for the whole year. They make all of the commission, which technically would break down to them getting paid 3 years upfront commission versus a traditional brokerage model.
I see.
Now, some people might not like that because we do not pay, in this example, a renewal. We just paid you 3 years worth. We lost money giving you all of the commissions, but this is where we talked about having a piece in the pie, having a piece of equity. So we've laid out in both of our brokerages in Quebec and in Ontario, a percentage of the shares are held for the players, okay? And based on a certain number of accumulated sales in premiums, they get to become a partner in the firm. Okay, so just like if you ever saw the TV show, Suits, right?
Yeah,
and
everyone
the
wanted to be a
difference
partner.
is you don't have to give us $500,000 and buy in. We actually cut you a check for $150,000 so you could buy into the firm when you get to a certain point.
So you cut them a check,
Yeah.
$150,000, just to basically become a partner with you guys so that they can build long-term into this
Correct.
big vision of yours.
So there's beneficial two components. First component is as the company grows and dividends are paid out, you get a piece of the dividend as revenue sharing as a shareholder. And obviously long-term, the value of insurance brokerage is when you sell the business, if you have a good business, you can actually make up to 6 times commission payout. Okay, so
what does that mean for someone who's not familiar?
So what
6
that
times
means,
commission
so I'll give you
payout.
just like an example, okay?
Yeah.
So if we do an example where the brokerage does 100 million in sales, let's use our Quebec brokerage, we do over 100 million, let's call it 100 million, okay? In car insurance, the average commission that the brokerage gets paid is 12.5% from the carrier on a car policy. On a home policy is 20%, commercial policy is 20%. So amalgamated is around 15% roughly is the average commission. So if we do 100 million every year at the renewal, we get paid an average of 15%. 15% on 100 million is $15 million, right?
Wow.
At renewals that we get every year.
Big money.
When we sell the business, now there's a lot of parameters based on customer retention, renewal, loss ratios, et cetera. But if you have a wonderful book, and my partner Sean is a genius, and we've got probably one of the best books in the entire industry. Well, the industry will pay somewhere between 4 to 6 times the multiple. So let's just use 4 as an example, okay? So the $15 million times 4 is $60 million. So when we sell the book of business, in this example would be at least a minimum of $60 million payoff.
Wow.
Well, if you owned 1% of the $60 million business,
600,000 right there.
You got
Is that right? Yeah, 600,000.
Correct.
Big payout right there.
Big payout.
So this is what you're offering when people decide that they're going to work with you and then they become a partner.
Correct. So we tell them, listen, in sales is amazing. The challenge in most sales is there's no end to the sale. You can be the #1 car sales guy in Miami, your pension is still zero. You can be the #1 realtor in general, and now some people will say EXP, different companies, but in most cases, you're the #1 realtor, there's no pension unless you saved your money, etc. Or what I tell young guys or hustlers is, would you bust your butt for 10 years? And what happens if you earn 1 or 2 or 3% shares in the brokerage? Would you be cool to have a pension of $1 to $1.5 million paid out at retirement?
Yeah, that's fantastic. What do most people say when you offer that?
People are excited about it. I mean, obviously, especially as we are model structured, we're privately held. We structure in such a way that approximately the first $1 million payout is tax free. So I tell people, where you ever seen someone else you can cash out with $1 million cash?
Yeah, no, you won't.
Retirement.
It's very rare. So just in the US, right, some statistics, because we do financial planning too, something around the tune of 75% of people that have pension plans and retirement plans still end up with less than $400,000 by the time they work their 40 years at a job that they hate. So when you tell me these things where you say, hey, listen, how would you like to work for a company, buy into what it is that we're doing, sell out to a vision, work 10 years. Our company's already rated and valued at this rate. We're only going to get bigger. And then eventually you could end up with a pension. You get your 1 or 2 or 3%, 1 million, 1.5%, that 1.5 million. That's fantastic.
The numbers are astronomical. I mean, if I look at it like right now, the OBC business, like 3%, if you had 3% of the company, just an example, three shares in the company. Well, right now, 3 shares is well over $3 million. And we predict in the next 2-3 years, we're going to double, triple in size. Like I know that our 7-year or 8-year vision on the Quebec side is our goal is to be $500 million.
Wow.
So just to see what the potential is for something like that.
That's amazing. Did you know all this when you decided to get into it? Like, did you see the vision, like what it is that, how you're describing it?
I understood, that whenever when we met in the direct sales business, we were involved. I was blessed to learn a lot from that, and I got some great mentorship from that experience. But I did somewhere around in that experience, I did $500 million in sales for that company.
Wow.
Okay. So we basically busted our butt as a group, and we made, $500 million in sales. And where's my piece?
Yeah.
I made commissions, don't get me wrong. I made some overrides and so forth, but I don't have a seat at the table.
That's right.
I have no equity in it. So when I made a decision to get into the insurance business, that was a key component is, where's my equity? Okay. And even though, example, when I started the internship, with the work I did, I earned some equity in the Quebec brokerage. Okay. So I own a small little piece. I own half a share. Okay. But I'll take half a share, still over 500,000, by the way. Okay. But, and we obviously, when we open up the Ontario brokerage, I'm a large shareholder.
Of course.
There,
yeah. I mean, you're the one that's building it out, right?
Sure.
So that's fantastic. So you have a company. How long were you in the first direct sales company for? And I'm jumping ahead. We're going to get to that. This is going to be a deep dive.
So the last company that was, so obviously I did some other companies before, but the one where we met, I think I was there almost 17 years, 16, 17 years.
Wow.
Craziness, huh?
That is crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I was there 11 years. That was like the whole 11 years of my first, working life. It was all I knew. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But,
me too.
It feels like you're married to like a company at that point, right? When you spend that long, it's like this is your life. Like everything
becomes part of your identity.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure.
100%. Yeah, crazy. Okay, so back to what we're doing with the insurance stuff. So you have people that now have an opportunity to buy into you as a leader, work with you in your company, build it up. Couple questions. One, what do they have to do in order to qualify to even be a partner, right? So
sure. Well, first of all, someone comes to me. First of all, number one is we're looking. It's like in anything in life, we're looking for burning desire. You got that burning desire, because I don't know, maybe things have changed in my generation with some of the generation today. I don't want to generalize, but
it's not the same.
It's not the same, man.
No,
like you told me back in the day, I can be rich. I'll work 8 to faint. I'll do whatever you got to do.
Sleep in my car if I have to, like whatever.
A lot of people today, I don't know, not everyone. So I'm not generalizing to some of the younger generation, but
it's still the vast majority. Exactly. He's
So
nice. He's being nice about it. I'm telling you right now, it is not.
So the
It's a
diamond in the rough,
different time.
we're looking for the crazy person. We're
Yeah.
looking for the guy that says, screw it, I don't want to work 50 years. I don't want to be, I want to have freedom. I want to be able to, have the good life. We're looking for those guys that have the burning desire. So the first thing we look is burning desire. Second thing we like to find is someone that does have some kind of sales experience. Nothing to do with insurance necessarily, but example, we do actually like network marketers because they've already been trained pretty well on, first of all, how to hunt, how to deal with objections, how to keep their mindset strong and not crumble like a little wussy. And example, my last recruit I brought on board, he was a successful car salesman, young guy, 22 years old, and basically saw opportunity to, of course, the equity component. And by the way, car sales is not easy, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And these guys, work really, really hard. And honestly, I was shocked that the guy makes as much money or money selling an insurance policy than selling a car.
Yeah, I was actually shocked to see like the amount of commissions that people that are in the car sales business would actually earn. And I didn't know anything about it until I was brought on to do some trainings for a couple dealerships down in Miami. And I'd talk to these guys, talk to them through their frustrations, say, all right, let's set up some follow-up calls. And I'm like, all right, so how much you making per commission? And obviously it's different every dealership, but some of these guys, like $200 a car. I'm like,
I know, me too. I was shocked, man. Like
was
that
like,
number
are you
one
kidding
Honda
me?
dealership in Canada is in Brampton, okay? And the
It's
sales
in
guy,
Brampton. Shout out Brampton.
Brampton, yeah. And the marketplace, I was shocked. They only getting paid a few $100s a sale.
Yeah.
Because my number one producer I currently got was a guy, talking about hustler, you know about hustling. I met a guy through the dealership, and his name is Vadislav. And Vadi came from the Ukraine during the challenges.
Yeah.
And the guy was a lawyer with a master's degree in law. But of course, in Canada, it's worth nothing.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
sort of
guy
over.
wanted to be an entrepreneur and basically said, okay, well, called around some dealers and said, if I bring you some people to buy a car, you're going to pay me something? And the guy started hustling, started selling 20 cars a month.
Stop.
I
Not
swear.
even being an official employee.
Not working for the company in
Oh
any
my
way.
God.
And then he finally said, well, I got my permanent residence. Now I'd like to work at the dealership. And the worst person who was the F&I person that was paying him, a referral fee, it's like, well, I pay you more in the referral fee than you get if you worked at the dealership. Don't do car sales, speak to Nathan about insurance. And that's how I got him to join my business.
You're kidding.
Yeah, so because in Toronto, if you sell a car insurance based on our comp plan, it's $350 to $400 at least per insurance policy. So more than a car sale, and it's way easier to sell an insurance policy than sell a car, and that's how kind of we found that hustler. So we're looking for the desire. Obviously, this guy, if you're from another country, you're willing to go sell cars and not even work for the dealership. That's a hustler.
That is a hustler.
Yeah. And
people from Ukraine, man, are hardworking. I know a few of them back home, and these guys are no joke. My old boxing trainer was a Ukrainian dude, and I've trained with Americans, and this guy was no joke. One mess up, right to the face. And he's like, why are your hands down? I'm like, hold on, listen. Why are your hands down?
That's the best way to learn. I did boxing too. The best way to learn how to keep your hands up is to get smacked in the face.
Get smacked in the face. It's true. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so we look for desire. Number two is we like in a perfect world them to have a contact list, at least a social influence of people, because obviously we can, we teach people go warm market initially. So example, this new youngster that I brought on board, a 22-year-old kid, his name is Jacob as an example. So I sat with him, old school, direct sales, made a contact list of 250 names with him.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow.
So
Yeah, he's
250 people, and basically the pitch is simple. Hey, mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, I just started an internship at my insurance brokerage. I need to do part of getting my license. I got to do 20 quotes by the end of the week. Can I practice on you? And that's where he's only been 2 weeks with me. So that's the process. We quoted, I don't know, his first weekend or two, we quoted about 25 people. We made him $2,000-$3,000 in his first, during his training period.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. And then obviously, as he gets more confidence, I'm going to be teaching him how to prospect the car dealers, which he does have contacts in because he came from that space, and mortgage brokers and real estate lawyers, and even life insurance people, because they have a massive contact list, and most of the time they don't sell necessarily car and house insurance. We can build a relationship to support each other that way as well.
Yeah, no, that's actually the best way right there. Joint ventures. I'm all about joint ventures. So you have people that are already servicing your ideal client. It's like you need to have some type of referral system set up, mutually beneficial. That's huge. I love that you were able to implement that because, again, I've done trainings for a lot of insurance brokerages, and all of them are just sticking to buy the leads, Now you have them on a phone system and they're spamming people, or you have calls that are coming in because people responded to an ad or whatever it is. So
I just find personally, I mean, again, we don't do life insurance, but I find the kind of leads you get in my space on an online generated model are horrible. Because those people are only looking for the cheapest product possible. I'm not looking for that kind of client. I'm looking for a client that wants, yes, value, good price for what you're getting. And a lot of people don't know that the policy they have is worthless, right? I say, well, I have a cheaper policy than what you offered me, but you have no insurance, bro. You know what I mean? Something happens, I always tell people, my slogan is, if there's an accident, you call me, you want to be happy when you call me versus crying when you call me when there's a problem, because we want to make sure you're actually covered in the circumstance here. And a lot of people, I would have to say probably in my space, I would say almost no broker explains anything. If I ask people, like, listen, I know you have car insurance and stuff, but if I ask you all the breakdown of what your real coverages are, then I'm not putting you on the spot, Karl.
No, that's fine.
I don't think you even know.
Yeah.
Because no one explains it to the clients. And there's a big difference between being properly covered and having the cheapest price.
Yeah, I think that is a very good distinction. What's your take on people who say, well, why do I need an insurance broker if I could just go shop rates and purchase online? And you kind of answered it, but this is kind of was going into the next question.
So
people have that mentality. Yeah.
So, there's two ways of getting insurance in my space. There's what's called a direct writer. So this would be like you going online and getting a Geico as an example. In your marketplace, in my marketplace, that would be a TD or a Desjardins or whatever. Well, the difference in that space, if you're getting insurance from an agent, number one, the agent works for that insurance company. He doesn't work for you. His loyalty is to his employer. Well, the agent is not going to fight against himself to get you a better price on the amount of money that the insurance company is going to pay out on the vehicle. Okay, so that's one component. Where as a broker model, the difference is we work for the client, not for the insurance company. So in my case, as an example, we have contracts, I think, with 12 different companies. I don't work for any of those 12 companies. I work for my client. So in your case, you were my client. I work for you. I don't have loyalty to any of the carriers. I have a loyalty to my customer. Okay. So example, in this specific example, I went back and fought against the carrier that we had him placed with, and I got him $4,000 more for his car than the carrier wanted to. And this will never happen in an agent model because the person doesn't have that power to do so. The other difference is, if you're calling example, a Geico or a Desjardins or whatever in my example, they only have one product to offer. Well, the difference is I will analyze 12 different companies at the same time and find what's the best need that fits what you're looking for in this specific example. So we shop every year all the 12, 13 different markets to see what's the next best option for the customer versus the agent model or your online model. And the other difference is if you have an accident at 11 o'clock at night, I always ask people, who's the person you text? And if the person's something online, well, you can't text message a call center in South Africa.
Yeah, or the little online chat.
Yeah, so really, we really believe in today's day and age, what's so unique is that personalized touch that most companies don't offer anymore. So if there's any kind of issue, we tell them, listen, we're like your lawyer when it comes to insurance. Anything happens, you call us. I always joke around. I'm your insurance daddy. Okay, if something happens, daddy. Call daddy. Okay, let's see what's going on. So we can, rather you tell us what's going on, so we can avoid or solve a problem versus avoiding something.
I actually like that. The fact that you related it to being like an attorney, right? And people get in trouble all the time at all types of stuff, right? Even like nothing crazy illegal or anything, but you always want to have a good attorney.
For sure.
That you can always speak to in terms of this is what I'm dealing with. And so I think it is important. It's one of the reasons we promote, same thing, financial advisor, someone's going to help you out with life insurance, anything, wealth management, legacy planning. You have an advisor.
You need a team. You need a team.
You can't do it by yourself.
For sure.
That's awesome. So tell me, what is a typical player? What type of income potential do they have to bring in on an annual basis? If someone came in, they started crushing it.
Sure.
What's that look like?
Well, I would say, look, you tell the numbers here are very simple in my model. So in my model, usually just a regular car insurance policy, which by the way, takes 5 minutes to sell. Like selling a car policy, all I'm going to ask you, are you single, are you married, where do you live, how many kilometers to work, how many kilometers annually, do you have winter tires, where do you park your car? That's it. We're done with the questions. Okay.
That's great.
So how long is it to sell a car policy? Okay. And I would say on average, it's between $300 and $400 a sale, right? So, usually I tell people, well, very simply, if you sold 50 policies a month, well, that's $15,000 to $18,000 a month. And just for doing that,
right there. And is that like is that a doable thing to be able to sell
very
50?
Because it's very doable. Yeah. So I mean, closing ratios each are different. I'll give you the average in my office, and the average, I would say, closing ratio for myself or most people, maybe I might have a little bit higher, but is somewhere around 30 to 35%. So every 100 quotes you do, right, because you're going to sell 35 to 30, about 35 sales. Well, 35 sales times 350 to 400. You're in you're in six figures or higher. But I mean, if you think about it, if someone is able to generate the leads, which obviously we have a system in teaching that, but if a quote takes 10 minutes, how many quotes can you do a day?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So like the hustlers in our organizations between the Quebec and Ontario marketplace are doing 12 to 15 quotes a day. Well,
really?
Yeah. Well, if you do 10 quotes a day, 5 days a week, it's 50 quotes a week, 200 quotes a month. You sell 35% closing ratio, 70 policies times 400, you're almost $30,000 a month just there.
Yeah.
Right? And that leads to, once they've got good at that, we can teach them eventually to become a commercial broker. Well, just an example, our top commercial broker last year made $1.6 million.
Powerful. Wow.
Because you sell, example, an apartment building insurance policy for one apartment building, just that one policy could be $100,000, $150,000 one policy. Or you do really big commercial. I know we sold in Quebec, one of our brokers sold one policy, just the one policy is $2 million. Well, you don't need to do too many of those.
Yeah, right. You do one and then it's like, I'll see you guys next year.
You know what I mean?
Right?
And, you know, so think about it. If you sold a $2 million policy, just the renewal, in our model, everyone's different, but in our case on commercial, we pay about 30% on the renewal. But the example of a $2 million policy, well, the commission that the brokerage gets paid on a $2 million policy is $200,000. Well, if we're paying you 30% of that, that's a $60,000 residual
right
on
there.
One
customer.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful. Sounds pretty powerful to me. Right?
Yeah.
It's great. Good business to be in.
Yeah.
Back to the question I was asking you about your team. You have people that come in. You're looking for hardworking people. You need strong desire. You need to be hungry, right? Like our Ukrainian friend that's willing to refer 20 cars to a dealership. Is there a particular amount of years that they have to be like vested into working with you? Do they have to make a certain number of sales to do it? Or if you're a hardworking, good person, you come in, you get 1% equity?
No, for sure not. So obviously what works with us is, first of all, if we find someone that is a hustler, we see they got some kind of sales experience of some sort. They have a strong contact list. Like it's, old school, show me how many people you know, let's make a list. In this particular case, if we feel confident to get licensed, so it's like, here's like $800 or whatever, take the course. They will write the exam. We make them pay for the exam cost. It's a few $100s.
Oh, okay.
When they pass the course, we will refund them the course and the cost of their exam.
Oh, nice.
Once they pass, which is nice, because like when my lady got her real estate license here in Toronto, she spent like 5-6 G's. She got nothing back.
Yeah,
That's
nothing.
For sure not. And then she had to pay her insurance and stuff. Well, once you get hired by us, you no longer pay anything. We pay for your insurance. We give you your business cards. We give you a laptop. We give you the headsets the headset for you to do the calls. Everything's taken care of. And then we basically start you in our internship program, like the example like Jacob that just started with me. We're going to basically show him how to do it. Once we feel confident on how we can do the car insurance, and then we start doing home insurance and so forth, and we show them how to prospect. And it changes from years by year, but basically once you sell over $4.5 to $5 million worth of a cumulative premium, that's where they sit down conversation of becoming an equity partner.
Nice.
Okay, because obviously at that point it means you became a player, right? I'll be upfront in the industry. I've had guys that came with me, spent a year or 2 or 3. And then they just couldn't hack it, and they bounced. Well, very happy we did not give them an equity share in the company. So once they vested and we see there's somewhere between $4.5 and $5 million in sales, that's where the conversation of us cutting a check and you becoming an equity partner. And in my case, we put 15% away.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of, opportunity there for the right person.
That's awesome. 15% of all revenue, right? For the
15% of all the shares are in a pool.
all the shares. Got it.
Waiting. I'll just give you an example. So guys like in Quebec, our top sales guys in Quebec, and in Quebec, the policy premiums are more than 50% smaller than here. Okay. Our top guys in Quebec are the top guys in just car insurance, not commercial insurance, are doing over $2 million a year in sales there. Here, that would be $4 million.
Yeah.
So someone from that, we haven't found that player yet, but we got one or two of those players here in just a year and a half. They become a shareholder in a year and a half, which is unheard of. Every place you come to a place a year and a half, 2 years in, you're now an owner in the firm.
Exactly.
And that happened in Quebec. A friend of mine, his name is Danny Maillet. He came in, the guy killed it. He was a cell phone salesperson at a company called Wireless Wave. And at night, he used to waiter and bartend at a restaurant that my friend, who is the vice president of the insurance company, goes to on a regular basis. And we helped recruit him. And
while you were at the restaurant?
Yeah, at the old school.
That's old school way. Best way.
And Danny came in and started crushing it, started selling a couple $1 million a year. And then we gave him an opportunity where now, in his case, we let him build a team. And now he has 12 people in his team selling insurance. And now he has become a large shareholder in the company.
That's great. So I think it's a great model you got going on. And even, if someone's not doing what the superstar, like you just mentioned, $2 million a year or whatever it is, it's a long-term play, right?
For sure.
10 years into this thing, where else are you going to go and have equity of a company doing, 9 figures in revenue or whatever that is, right? Over
Nowhere.
$100 million.
So look at it. Even the person wasn't great. I mean, listen, even if you sold, 700,000-800,000 a year, and even if it took you 7 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you getting that?
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. And then really quick before I go on to the next topic. So tell me, how powerful do you see your opportunity that you're helping other people have, right? As opposed to the traditional way that people will typically like generate income, earn a living and all of that. And why consider being part of an opportunity like you if you had to kind of like sum it up?
I mean, it's very simple. I mean, obviously trading time for money straight up. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're a doctor or a lawyer, that's great. But even how many years of, investment did you have to put into becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer?
Yeah,
everyone
10
sees
years,
the back
for sure.
end, but they don't see that you spent opportunity cost of not making money for 10 years, plus the schooling and the money you spent to become that over the years, which we need those people. So we need doctors and so forth, obviously. But, the reality in our space is, well, if you took you 10 years to build $100,000 residual income, well, it's better than never having
a residual
income,
Yeah.
and never having an equity play. So I look at it as, I wish I knew what I knew now 30 years ago, because the reality is I would have had a residual income in the millions by now in the insurance space, plus a massive equity that's 100% recession proof. And the biggest thing I love about insurance, as long as you're working with a reputable company, you can't get screwed. It's impossible. Because, example, in my case, people say, well, Nathan, can you get screwed here? No, we have a shareholders agreement that the comp plan can't change, that things can't be taken away from me. And that was what was key, is that we're offering people something that, yeah, you got to bring your A game to the table and bring your work ethic and hard work and so forth. But there's something that you're going to build a residual income. You have a chance to build leverage if you are that player. And the fact that you have an equity play, I've never seen any other company out there that does something to that type of, where we have a mentorship program, a proven program that we can help someone win long-term in a big way.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Congrats to you on all that you've been building. Thanks for helping us, dive into all of that. I think that's important, especially when it comes to giving people opportunities to see what else is out there.
For sure.
There's so many people out there that they hate their job, they hate what they're doing. Obviously, they have to provide for their family. But
makes sense.
when it comes to find a way to create additional income, a lot of people, they don't know where to look, right? And so that's why I like to talk about these things, and I really like to help showcase what it is that you're doing.
For me, I think the best thing for the average person to generate a supplemental income, and the industry, as we know where we started there, have a bad rap, but the industry of network marketing is bar none, in my opinion, the best opportunity out there. For anyone that has an entrepreneurial spirit or wants to learn to be an entrepreneur, I think network marketing is the #1 avenue, bar none, if you have the right components put together. Yeah.
Okay. So one, why do you think that is? And then two, we'll get into how you got into network
Sure.
marketing. But why is it that you say that? Especially after having the opportunity to be in so many businesses. Now you're in insurance. For someone just starting off their entrepreneurial journey,
Sure.
you still believe it's network marketing?
I still do believe it because it's a way, like obviously if you're going to start a business, you can even take my insurance business. We had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get up and running where we are at. And even myself, I mean, even though I might have had the money to do so, I would have not done so unless I had my partner Sean, who already had the success in the space because I didn't know anything about insurance. I mean, so I think while we're on that topic, one of the first success principle is find a mentor. Find someone that's already had massive success in something that you want to have success in and learn from that individual. And that's one of the reasons why network marketing is such a great place to start is there is someone in every direct sales company that's a legitimate direct sales company is having success. And you can learn from that individual. And why I like network marketing is every network marketing company has a low entry point to get started. Okay.
This is true.
$1,000 or less in most cases. There are some exceptions to this, but in most cases, for under $1,000, you can get up and running a business without giving up what you're doing. So you're not jeopardizing, your day-to-day operations to pay for yourself or your family and so forth. While on a part-time basis, you can have a turnkey business model similar to a franchise type model, but someone that will hold you by the hand. That if you have you have to have that burning desire, but someone will teach you a proven system within the model that already has success and will teach you how to win within that model. And the principles of network marketing are what? One, business ownership. Two, build leverage. We all know the secret of success is getting paid on other people's efforts. You'd rather get the whole cliche 1% of 100 people's efforts over 100% of your own effort. Third principle that you want to have, obviously, is recurring revenue, something that comes in month after month, year after year. And this is where not most direct sales companies don't necessarily have this, but you'd like to have a way that there's an equity play, if you can, obviously, involved. But I think someone that, if I look at myself, like even if I was a full-time, whatever I was doing, I could start something part-time, which I know that I just started something a little part-time on the side. And on a part-time basis without interfering with my traditional business that I'm busy and my relationship, I was able to build a six-figure passive income totally part-time with zero risk outside of my traditional insurance business.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's the biggest key there. It's one, having the ability to have the mentorship, like you mentioned. You have to have the right model, so good compensation plan, an opportunity to get paid for your efforts, right? A way that's fair, and also leverage your time, your energy, your efforts with the other people. And I think the skills that you're going to develop in the process of learning how to figure it out become the most valuable thing.
For sure.
Right.
That means my success in learning my craft in network marketing in the company where we got a chance to meet each other led to me having the skill set, the know-how, the right mindset to have the success in building our multi-million-dollar insurance business.
Yeah, 100%. I would like to hear how you got started. I know that before network marketing, you were a waiter.
Yeah.
And we used to use your story and just preach it over and over and over again, especially when you would come and you would do events for us down in South Florida. A lot of people, the stigma is you already have to be talented, right, in order to have success in something like network marketing because it's hard.
For sure.
Right? It's a difficult business and you're gonna have to learn and you're gonna have to grow. But share a little bit about your story. How'd you get into it?
I find, especially in network marketing, there's such a negative stigmatism associated with the industry, and sometimes justly so in some cases. But definitely, you do not have to necessarily have any major skills. Myself, I didn't have any skills up front, other than maybe I was a bit of a big mouth, maybe. But I was always a dreamer. I mean, everything starts with a dream. I was the kind of guy that you see in trouble at school because I would be daydreaming in class about things outside of the classroom and not necessarily being there. And so I think everything starts with a dream. So if you have that, that's when we talk about that burning desire, you still have a dream. A lot of people have no dreams, right? They just, they're dead from the inside out. I had the dreams. I was approached to take, I've been approached by a few different network marketing companies when I was a kid. I remember the first time I was approached by Amway, some people at Amway, and I got invited to a meeting, and I understood absolutely nothing of what the hell they were talking about. All I kept seeing them talking about people that had boats and planes and were rich, but I understood nothing. So if I don't understand, I'm definitely not getting involved in that in any way. And then I was approached by some different things, and I was with a specific direct. I can say it. I was approached by a company called Excel Telecommunications, and the concept made sense at the time. Timing, because the business is about timing. The
What did
industry.
Excel do?
Excel was similar to what we were involved with. So Excel was a telecommunications company. So back in the day, for the youngsters in the room, there was no cell phones yet, and if you wanted to use you had to make a call on a traditional landline, and if you made a phone call anywhere outside your local area, it was what's called a long distance phone call. Okay, so
This is crazy just even talking
I know,
about it,
even
isn't
thinking
it,
about it
right?
today, I know. But I mean, especially in the States, if you're just like, you could have called, example, from Fort Lauderdale to Miami, it was long distance.
It's long
It
distance,
was long
yeah.
distance.
Change
So
the zip code, change the area
there
code.
was a charge. So what happened was the government ran the phone business in every country. Okay, so in the States, the government ran it. Was AT&T was the monopoly. You wanted a phone, you wanted dial tone, you made a call, had to be with AT&T. In Canada, it was Bell Canada had the monopoly. And when the law changed, you could choose. You still have to have the landline with the carrier, so the AT&T or the Bell, but you could choose where the long distance company. You could choose which company you could use that would bill you for the long distance. Okay, and what happened was when the law changed, that created multi-billion-dollar opportunity. And as a youngster, I was shown this and obviously presented it, and I saw, wow, wait a minute. For the first time, people have choice. And when there's choice, a certain percentage of people will leave the monopoly just to have a choice, and there's a fortune to be made. And so I bought into that timing, and there was a mentor that I had met, which I actually ironically was from Florida at the time, you know who I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
and saw opportunity there and got involved part-time. And the basic concept there was simple: is we sold long distance, and we built a team of people that sold long distance, and I learned a lot there. I made some money, not crazy money. I think I made my first year like $30,000. I guess at the time, when you're in your early 20s, that's still like wow
Yeah.
at the time. And got to choose my own schedule and be my own boss, and did that for a few years, and made second year a little more, not much more, like 36,000. In my last year, or third year, I was there for 3 years. I think I made like $38,000. But it was what I learned now that I didn't know at the time, that it wasn't residual based. This was straight up. I was getting paid to build a team of people. I got paid more on recruiting than anything. And when you stop the recruiting, the check stopped. And at that point, I made a decision to leave it, because I was just like, I'm just back that philosophy that I was trained to learn, that you need to build residual income. You need to have some kind of equity model. There was none of that there. And I left that business, ended up going back to the bar and the restaurant business. And
Oh, wow. So, okay, so you were doing Excel. We're like, okay, I'm spinning my wheels. This is another sales job then, just on recruiting.
yeah,
So you're back to the bar and you weren't doing Excel
I
anymore?
wasn't doing Excel because Excel, a couple things. Excel was bought by a company.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so Excel was bought at the time. Excel was an American company, was bought by Bell Canada, the monopoly here, and they bought it to kill it. They basically did everything they could to kill it. And then I made a decision that when that was happening, that I didn't really see the long-term opportunity. Obviously, ideally, I would have looked for something else in this space that would made more sense. But we're all usually go back when there's a sense of stress. You go back to your place of comfort. And initially, the place of comfort, I knew that I could make $1,000 to $1,500 a week waitering and bartending with ease. And I fell back into the ease space.
Yeah.
And
That's actually great to know, though. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
And went from Excel back to the bar, and then I was approached later on. There's another company in between, but I was approached to take a look at ACN, where we met. And
Who was it that approached you?
it was Simon Abood. Simon Abood approached me. So
The OG, triple OG.
so when we were in Excel, Simon used to come to the meeting that I presented at. That's how Simon and I met.
Okay.
So he's younger than I, but we're closer in age demographic compared to the other leaders. So him and I opened up an office in Excel together. And
Really?
we were building the business together, even though we were not part of the same organization. And when he called me to take a look at ACN, and initially I was a little bit negative. I was like, same thing. There's no money there. I'm not really interested. But fast forward the story, started seeing the success that he was having and the residuals. I was just like, cut through the BS. Let me see your back office. I want to see reality. And when I started seeing that he had a residual, and then at the time ACN was selling local phone service, like, wait a minute. I get to get paid when the phone hangs on the wall. They don't have to make a phone call. So again, for the people that are youngsters, like, what is he talking about? But everyone had a landline back then, by the way. And so saw opportunity there and started part-time. like anybody else. So I still waited during the day. I shift my schedule around. I worked still Friday night and Saturday night at the restaurant, but I moved down to 5 lunches. So I told Simon Monday to Friday and Saturday morning for the meeting, I'm there. Let's kill it. Let's go for it. And what we did was maybe a bit different, but we did a pre-launch. I basically networked for about a month and a half to 2 months before I signed up in ACN. There was a promotion back then, if you remember. You hit team coordinator within 120 days. You made $10,000, $10,000 bucks. So
that's what it was.
I was like, okay, I already know that's the promotion, so I won't sign up for 2 months. Let me hustle. So the first day we signed up, we were also blessed. We gained momentum and stuff. We signed up. We put in 100 distributers the first day I signed up.
The first day you signed up?
First day I went to the head office and I brought 100 applications, old school. There was no keying the internet back then.
Yeah, there was no.
So we brought the paperwork to the head office, which happened to be in Montreal, and I said, okay, let's sign them up. And I wanted to make sure, like, I could have made a lot of money on that, but I wanted to make sure my people made money. So we structured it in such a way that 7 or 8 people, we made sure they got to a certain rank with ETT, and we layered everything. And so I ended up having like 6, 7 people each make $3,000-4,000 their first month.
Yeah.
Versus me making the big checks. I only made like $3-4 grand the first month, but I made sure a whole bunch of people made the money, which was smart long term. Make sure your people make money.
Yeah.
And
tell us exactly why were you thinking that? You know, because some people, they would have, I want the whole $30,000 check. Let me just drop it all and get the credit. Versus, okay, maybe I don't make the whole 30,000. And
well, I was actually offered an opportunity to get grandfathered to start at team coordinator. When we first started, but my philosophy then is that if I did that, it's great. I need the money. I like the money, but it was just like, I'm already duplicating where other people are going to ask me for a grandfather, going to ask me for a deal, and if I did that, that's going to duplicate the same way. So I said, well, I won't take a deal. Let me start like anybody else, and that no one can ever disassociate with that. I got a special offer that anyone else couldn't. So I did it that way, and then I knew that if I could help duplicate 5, 6, 7 people, I can't remember the exact number, it was 5 to 7 people that we made sure they maxed out their ETT bonus, they made $3,000-4,000 their first month, that we'd have a great story.
Yes.
And we wouldn't be duplicating with some kind of hidden story that a special deal was given or anything like that. And that led to, us blowing up the business, where it's crazy. I was mentioning to you that someone had sent me an article from the first year that I was in ACN, and I have it on my phone. It's kind of crazy. And 12 months into the business, so what ended up happening, rewind a little bit, after 3 months of doing the business, I left the restaurant, okay? Because I got to the rank called team coordinator in my 86th day. And in the last 4 days of that month, I made about, I can say it now, I made $10,000
in just 4 days.
4 days
as a team coordinator.
As a team coordinator.
Wow.
And went full time. And fast forward, the results were crazy. Was in the first 12 months in ACN, we built a team of 3,000 distributors and 13,000 customers in my first 12 months. And I made roughly, I can't remember the exact number, but around $140,000 my first year. That was insane.
Yeah.
Back then, you're a gangster now.
Of course.
I mean, we made 6 figures. So I was excited, and obviously that was life changing for myself. And then things grew exponentially in the business, and was there, as we mentioned, for 16+ years.
Yeah, that was insane. I remember seeing you up on the ranks. I spent a few years working real hard and developing these skills, and it took me 2 years to hit team coordinator. So when we hear, there's this new guy, part of Momentum Group, Simon Aboud's team, came in 80, 90 days, hit the team coordinator. We're like, what? And I'm here like, I spent 2.5 years. And then, you come in, then it all becomes, well, what's that person doing, right? What's that person? What makes that person special? So you have some people that kind of like look at it as like, oh, this is not fair. You have to be this type of person. Well, our Florida team, we were like students, right? And I know you became real good friends with Max at that point, and you guys were just both crushing on the charts. You became the #1 producing TC. I don't remember if they had RD back then.
No, not yet.
They didn't have it there, right?
No.
But you were on top ranks, boom, top 1, top 5, top 10 out of like, tens of thousands of people at that same rank.
Yeah.
So it was just fantastic to be able to see you from afar. What was it like hustling to maintain that momentum? Did you hit the momentum, allow it to continue to grow organically on its own? Did you to keep busting your ass? Did you find out that it kind of slowly started dipping and you kind of had to overcompensate some way to keep it going? Tell us about that process?
So the process there is when you have momentum, do everything in your power not to stop the momentum. Okay, that's where a lot of people, when the momentum starts, they take their foot off the gas. That's when you need to throw the gasoline tank at it and get things blowing up even more.
Yeah.
So for myself, as soon as I had momentum, we were putting in, like, right out of the gate 100 people a month into the business, and I'm like, no, I'm never going back to the restaurant. I need to put the gas, put more fuel on the fire. And I worked really, really hard. And as you know, in the comp plan, people hit team coordinator, they broke away, and
Yes.
your check went down. And I always just made a decision that I always had to be the top recruiter in the team. I had to be the top customer acquisition getter, that I had to lead by example. In anything in life, if you want a team to be successful, you need to be better than everyone else and show them the way. And I was always in that fashion. And a little asterisk to you, Karl, when you saw people came and saw me have my success in ACN, they didn't realize, though, that I had 3 years of experience with Excel to learn mechanics, learn the skill set. So if I changed, example, basketball teams, I suck at basketball, I'm using it as an analogy, but I've already played on a team for 3-4 years. I already had the skills of how to do a pick and roll and how to do a layup and different things. So that's why I had a much faster, I guess, starting point when I came into ACN compared to some of you that I had the basics already.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had the basics, then I had obviously the right timing where things were changing, the regulation of landlines and then cell phones and so forth, and was able to capitalize by putting the effort on it. And reality is this: once you have momentum, never let it go.
Got it. Okay, cool. So you attribute the momentum to less talent, more work ethic.
Work ethic, for sure. Work ethic.
Then.
Reality, we've heard before. If you the cliche before, if you could strike out, if you had a 300, batting average, means you struck out 7 out of 10 times, you're a multi-gazillionaire.
Yeah.
It's just most people are scared to number one, get off the bench, get on the field, and not be scared to get struck out. Too many people, I find, especially in today's society, care what other people think. Who cares what other people think?
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Remember, the people that that care what you think, they're broke, they're stressed, they're on antidepressants, they're drug addicts, they're alcoholic. Who cares what they think?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There was a video when you came to do an event for us after you started hitting these charts, and then that quote right there, I remember we had clipped it and we used it, and I forgot how many people we had. We had maybe 400 or 500 people that just came out to see you because it was like, this is the success story that everyone wanted to learn from. But I think it's really important for people to know that, yes, when we heard your story, it was the 90-day success story, but what people didn't see was 3 years before.
The preparation behind the success story.
You had gone through your preparation, right? You had to learn the skills. You had to learn to develop the leadership ability and all of that. So that's fantastic. How long did it take for you to hit the RVP rank?
It took me 13 months to hit RVP. They had a promotion, by the way, to hit RVP in 12 months. You made $50,000.
Oh yeah,
and right. I missed it by like 3 weeks, and I was so depressed.
Really?
Like I wanted to quit. Screw this. I didn't make the $50,000. How stupid is that, right? I was so pissed.
I'm gonna make $50,000 this month, but screw
that. I didn't get the bonus, but
screw this whole thing.
But they always talk about a bit of like I don't really like that language. We know they always talk about the secret. You visualize something that becomes true. Well, that is true. Okay, but there's no secret of secret. But once you believe something strong enough and you take enough action, I really thought for sure it was going to happen. Like when I did TC in less than 3 months, I was like, it's going to happen. And it happened. And when I was going to hit RVP in less than a year, I was like, it's going to happen no matter what. And it fell short just by a little bit, but it basically happened because once you believe in it and you put every ounce of your soul, heart, and effort into something, I really believe that you're going to accomplish the goal or close to it.
Yeah.
So, when I hit the RVP, obviously that was life-changing. The numbers, when astronomically changed into multiple six figures in doing so. And then it was funny, a ironic story, which they won't really know necessarily, but I was like, the number one RVP and things were blowing up and I was like king shit and all that kind of stuff. And I remember when Debbie Davis hit SVP, and she called me up, she's in Detroit, and she asked me, hey, Nate, can you come do an event for us and celebrate our grand, us hitting SVP? And I'm like, what took you so long to get to SVP? And I was like an arrogant little prick at the time. And ironically, I guess it was God's like, we're going to make you pay for that comment.
Yeah.
And it took me 10 years to get to SVP. after that, I think it was God just saying, well, listen, little punk, you need a little lesson here
Yeah.
of humility.
Yeah.
And it took me 10 years to do it. So yeah, never,
'Cause what was the comp plan like before? To hit SVP, you need what, 3 RVPs?
you needed 4 legs of RVPs.
4 legs
and
and
I
2
can't,
TC.
RV, you need 4 legs of TC, and you had to do, I think, 200,000 a month in billing volume, roughly,
Yeah.
to accomplish that. So, sorry, no, SVP. I apologize for
Yeah,
that was RVP.
yeah,
Sorry, for
yeah.
SVP, you needed to have 2 RVP legs.
It was 2 RVPs.
RVP legs.
Okay.
then an RD leg,
And then
then
3
2 TC legs, or 2 or 3 TC legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was 2, 1, and then 3.
1, 2,
or
3, 4, 5. You needed 5 legs when I did it.
was
I
it
think.
5 legs or 6 legs?
5 or that was 6 legs.
It was
I think,
6 legs. Yeah. All right. So you needed 6 legs.
Yeah.
You're sitting there getting on Debbie Davis, who was an ACN
Legend, like a legend in the
right?
company,
And it's
yeah.
like, what took you so long?
I know. Can you believe how
And
stupid that was?
this is you like a little more than a year into it.
Yeah, because I was like, right, man, this is easy.
Of course,
I got
you
the
hit
RVP
RVP.
in 1 year. I'm the #1 producing RVP.
I got to do this 2 more
in
times.
2 more times. It's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
You know. And then
And it took you 10 years.
took me 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What a story, though.
Yeah.
What a story. That's fantastic. And it was like, for those that don't have any reference, is a company that, I mean, how many people were in ACN? I always tell people 100,000 because that's what we use at the
There's probably
Celebrity
more than
Apprentice.
That.
It was a lot
There's
more.
hundreds
than
of thousands of
Hundreds
people. Like
of
if you think about it,
thousands
if we
of-
just look like when we were just the conventions we were
Yeah.
at, there was roughly 18 to 20,000 people at each convention.
Exactly.
And that's not including Europe, Australia, New Zealand. So there must have been, I would have to say, probably not something active versus signups, but
Of course.
I mean, I think when things were cranking the most, I think Simon's group, which I was part of, I think we were putting in 10,000 reps a month,
Yeah.
just our group.
Yeah. That's
So it
insane.
can definitely have to be more than 100,000 because
That's
we probably put
insane.
100,000 in just us in 1 year.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. 10,000. Yeah, that's
Crazy.
that's momentum.
Yeah, something like that,
There was a
yeah.
huge wave, and then every week you guys would have trainings here in Toronto.
Yeah, it
at
was
one
crazy.
point.
Toronto, we ran a weekly meeting at a church called the TICC, which fit 2,000 people almost, 1,800 people. And we filled up and packed that standing room only for maybe 6 consecutive years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would see the videos and you see people, first of all, 2,000, 1,800, 2,000 seats, and then you'd still see people in the
Standing.
back, standing, all in the back of this whole big thing. And I was just there like, oh my God, another Saturday. Look at how many people. I was like, all 2,000 people ready to run and get customers as soon as this hits.
Yeah.
This is just insane. But I think ultimate power of, number one, create a story. Right? Everyone has things that hold them back, things that they're missing, things that they lack, but they have to learn to become the hero of their own stories, what I
Yeah.
say, so that they can win in whatever they want to achieve. And I think you guys being able to come together, identify sharp, serious people that were committed to a big vision.
We'll be editing that. Okay. Yeah.
Right? We'll be editing that for sure. But you guys had serious people committed to a big vision, and then you all come together, and I mean, that to me, powerful, amazing.
Well,
insane.
they say, obviously I'm not the most religious person or Bible teller, but it says in the Bible, if a bunch of few people come together with a common vision, anything is possible.
Anything
and that is reality
possible.
true.
That's right. That's right. You guys, it's all the crazy people that come together that make all these advancements and things possible. So beautiful stuff. That's great. So you were in ACN now 17 years, you said?
Approximately.
About 17 years. I don't know if you want to get into it. We don't have to get into specifics, obviously. But what made the shift happen to where you were like, okay, cool, I've done this here. Now it's time for me to look at other things,
Well, I'll be straight up on the story. I mean, whatever, I got kicked out of ACN. I don't mind saying that. There was basically something happened and the company made a decision to us to part ways. I obviously totally did not agree in any way with their decision, and I thought they were, I'd be honest with you, I felt a little hurt, even after you've been there for 16 years and you've been leading the way as a general for them and standing in front of all of the slings and arrows of anyone that said anything bad about ACN and took care of business for them.
That is true.
And I felt a little let down in that story. But I mean, to be honest, as we discussed over, I think, our lunch time, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was making close to 6 figures a month and basically got my check turned off, and that was a little hurtful and so forth. But, the reality is it made me reevaluate and see that I need to do something that I owned a piece of, okay, thus the insurance business, that I had more control, that the comp plan couldn't be changed on me, because
Yeah.
how many years I was in
many
that
years did we
company that
have
they
to-
changed the comp plan and
Yeah.
my check went down.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it was a forced leave. Okay, I do have to say that when I was deactivated, they did at least made me a settlement offer. So thank you guys. If you ever see this, thank you, Robert. There was a settlement offer that allowed me with that to invest in the insurance business and start a new career based on not only the experiences but also with some of the money that came from that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So when this happened, was there a period? Because I know like when I had to kind of like do my exit, and then no, this is not a quitting video. We're not, trying to bash or promote anything. This is just telling our story, catching up as buddies. All right. But yeah, for me, I don't know. It was like after 11 years dedicated, I was kind of like shook. I had a little bit of savings. I hadn't been saving the amount of money that I should have when I started making some really big money. I started maxing out everything. It's like, okay, car payment, boom, what's the highest I can get? Oh, to live in my my condo, $5,500 a month. Yeah, let me get that too. Then spending $8,000 to $10,000 on eating out just alone every single month is just nuts. It was complete foolishness. But had a little bit of money saved, and afterwards I couldn't find myself to do anything. After like when I made the shift, it was like 6, 7, 8 months later. I ended up downgrading everything. Couldn't afford to stay in the spot I was living at. I was like, okay, I got 4 or 5 months of rent in me. So it's like, okay, got to make everything stretch. So downgrade. I end up living by the beach, and I just found myself being like a beach bum for like a year. And I had like this epiphany where everything I had chased was about money for the first 10, 11 years of my working career. I had sacrificed a lot of time with like family, friends, like people I've grown up with, and you just outgrow them, right? You learn new skills, you have a different way of seeing life, so I get that. But I also got that because they weren't like us. They weren't trying to build something. They weren't thinking about their future. They were just playing video games or thinking about the fun for the weekend. Like it was like, okay, we just can't be friends, and I just didn't see them. But I don't know, man. I just had this weird shifting mindset that I think took there was a huge mindset shift that kind of like just put me on a new trajectory, where after that I kind of like stopped chasing money. Now I had to do things to make money, but money was never the predominant like decision maker in any decision I made moving forward with any project that I continued. I always knew because of the skills we adopted, I could make money in anything, but it was like I wouldn't sell my soul per se just to make money or a lot of money doing something, which is why I said no to most opportunities that came to me after, because people were like, you're not an AC anymore? Fly over here, come here. How much do you want? $50,000, join our team. No, you come over here, 70,000. So can you tell us, like, speak to the mindset? Like you said, it was hurtful, it was hard, and obviously it wasn't your decision, and obviously I don't think ACN did it for, just for the sake of getting rid of one of their key generals in the company. So obviously they have to make decisions that work for them and all of this stuff, but
Yeah, they have to do what's best for them. I mean, the reality is, I can relate. So, one of the bad thing we get caught up with in the culture of what we did there, and it wasn't necessarily specifically the company necessarily, but the culture that was created there was you need to show off, you need to show that you're rich, you need to drive the fancy car, you got to drive, have the fancy watch,
Yeah.
and the drive the baller lifestyle, and
Yeah.
and it made me when I left the ACN, and it made me realize that was like an artificial thing.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that we would, sometimes no longer be friends with certain people, and
Yeah.
a little bit too cocky, and we had a kind of a mindset that if you're not with us, you're a loser, and if you didn't do this, you're an idiot, and that's not right. The reality is, when I left, when I was asked to leave and so forth, very similarly, I was approached by all sorts of different direct sales companies, as we were discussing. 3 companies offered me somewhere close to $500,000 each of those companies to get involved with it. And I did a typical fly in and met the owners and let them wine me and dine me, and it was a great experience. And I felt humbled that someone was willing to offer me $500,000 to join them.
I felt humble. My 50,000, I was like, sure. So I could only imagine.
So I was humble,
well deserved,
but still the ego, when I won $1 million,
Yeah.
but
Did you do that? You would
I
actually
told you,
tell people?
one company said, I wasn't really wanting to do that company. I won't say the name of the company. They offered me close to $500,000 Canadian, and I'm like, I'll do it for $1 million.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, no, I'll do this, and we can make deals. But to be honest with you,
It wasn't the right.
it wasn't the right fit, because I had to ask myself at the end. This was actually before making a decision to do the insurance thing. I had to ask myself would I actually join that network marketing company if you did not give me the $500,000?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, no.
Yeah.
Those companies are shit.
Yes.
There's, excuse my language, but it was like, there's no way I would join this company. And I'm trying to think, how would I look at someone in the eyes, like just using you in the example, Carl? I call you up and say, Carl, I got this opportunity. I think it's totally crap. They're giving me $500K. You're getting nothing, by the way, but let's go kill it together. You ready to roll?
Exactly.
I can't do that, and it doesn't feel right. You know, and despite, don't get me wrong, I would have liked the 500,000 at the time. I think I'll shift gears. I know we talked about this while we're on that subject. Advice number one for someone who's made tens of millions of dollars before is save your money. Okay. The advice I can give you for someone that made a lot of money, you need a game plan right from the get-go, that you put a certain percentage on autopilot. So if I give a tiny little financial advice, one, you're making money, open up multiple bank accounts. Percentage of the money goes straight into that account for your taxes. Okay, you got to pay your taxes. I guarantee every network marketer, I'm sure it happened to you for sure. I was someone who used to wait tables. Second year, made in ACN, I don't know, $200,000-$300,000 and $100,000 the first year, and then the accountant's like, you owe $180,000 to the tax man. What?
Yes.
And I spent all the money. You know what I mean? So tip number one is figure out what the percentage tax bracket you're in, and we'll say it's 30% as an example. Obviously in Florida, it's a great place to be because there's no state tax.
State.
Put a percentage.
No property tax now too.
I know. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Right?
I've heard it, but I'm waiting for it to happen now.
Yeah.
But put a certain percentage. Let's call it 30% of your check immediately hits your bank account. Needs to go into another bank account for savings that you don't touch. If you're young and you're dumb, put a joint account with your mom so you can't take the money. Okay. For the taxation.
That's a great one.
I did that, by the way, later in life when I was not now, but
your mom with someone else to hold you accountable, right?
You got it.
Sure
ironically, I still have a small account with Mama still. Ironically, it's a small one, but first money goes there for taxes, and then you want to put away 20-30% of your money for savings. Okay, and you've heard this before. You need to have your emergency fund, and then your savings fund. And it needs to be autopilot, because guys, when you're making money, you get excited, you're going to go out, you're going to take the girls out, or if you're the ladies, you're going to want your Birkin bag, and you're going to want this and this and that. A percentage must go away. For someone who made big money, big money, I had no money, okay? Not no money, but I'm very little money saved up. And that's the biggest, I think I would say, cachet for people that have made big money in network marketing, is they live above their means and spend it as if it's coming in forever. And that's the wrong mindset. I should have been able to easily save $5-6 million with the money that I made during my experience in ACN, which I saved money, but nowhere near that amount that I should have been saved. So have a plan, tax money, savings, emergency fund, and have it on autopilot. And then when the money goes into the savings component, get someone who knows what they're doing. Do not go and throw it into some trading bot stupidity. Do not try to become a trader with your money. Stupidity, okay? And don't necessarily think that you got some special crypto that's going to make you millions of dollars that you're going to invest in the IPO of the crypto. Don't be stupid, okay? You want to play with a little bit of money and do that, so be it. I've done it. I have crypto. But put money into something that's safe, that will give you a guaranteed return of whatever, 5, 6, 7%, whatever it is, and build a long-term asset for yourself, is advice for anyone that's starting to make any money.
Yeah, 100%. So important. So it was, what was it? I was probably 3-4 years removed, right, from doing ACN. Me and Carlos had done a couple other companies since then. And then we met with one of our partners, really good friends now, Jason Earn, who we've been talking about. And he was the first person, he's a financial advisor, right? He has a financial firm, and he was the first person that actually sat us down and was like, all right, let's talk about how much money you guys have made during all this time. And he's like, obviously you guys spent all this money, but he's like, if you guys would have literally just taken 20% of your income, put it to the side, and not even taking the whole 20%, you just take a percentage of that and put it somewhere where you can have a return, get yourself 7, 8, 10% a year. He was showing you guys were working that time, you spent 10, 11, 12 years doing this anyways. He's like, after that 10, 12, 11 years, 11, 12 years, he's like, each of you would have had $1.2 to $1.5 million just from doing that.
For sure.
And he's like, and so now you're starting over and you're wondering, what are we going to do? And you're making decisions, having to start from scratch. That you should have never had to start from scratch.
Absolutely.
And the more money you make, it's not just saving just 20% of your income. The more money you make, people that are actually really creating wealth, right? Find out that these guys will take 60, 70, 80% of their income and they'll only live on 20%. You know,
sure.
They live on 20%. The rest of their money, it's, I need this money to go to work. How much money is my money making me? You know, whether it be real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's whatever vehicle you choose, you just have to be well versed in what you're doing. Don't do it because someone says this is the thing to do.
Sure.
Let's get involved in trading. Let's get involved in crypto. And again, I have crypto. Crypto's actually was a huge wave for me that I got to ride. But even still then, I don't promote or advocate, take your money and put it into crypto. I say you have your money saved. You need a defensive strategy and an offensive strategy. Defensive, the money's not going anywhere. And if you invest it into anything for investing or anything with growth, it's secure. And then your growth bucket, and I learned this from Tony Robbins, this is the money you set aside where you can afford to take on the higher risk,
Sure.
right? There's a higher chance for a reward, but there's also a higher risk that it doesn't work out. So it could go to zero. Have a bucket specifically for that,
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
I heard that stuff just changed my whole world. And then it became exciting to know that just allowing your money to compound over time, year after year, even if you're not the highest income earner, if you gave yourself time, 15, 20, 25 years, anyone could really have the chance to create financial independence, even if you're a minimum wage worker.
For sure. There's a famous book, The Millionaire Next Door
There
Neighbor.
you go. Yes.
And it's the guys that are never made big money or worth millions and millions of dollars, and they just had regular jobs, but they lived within their means and they totally put a large percentage into savings and invested it on a regular basis. And that's the biggest mistake that, I can speak for myself is that, great, I'm making 100 grand a month, but I got to go spend 80 grand a month to be the baller.
Yes.
And especially where you guys are from in Miami, it's even more prevalent. I remember when I came with you guys, let's get a bottle and let's go get a tape. Why are you guys crazy? Okay. I'm someone who doesn't drink. I'm not spending $400 on a drink that I don't want to drink anyways. To impress the
Now
ladies
today
and
it's
stuff.
4,000.
Whatever.
10x that number.
insane.
But no, you're right,
It
because
was-
at the time it was like $500. So we'd be like going out as a group, and it was like, all right, we need 20 bottles, right? And it's like, okay, cool. Give me your $2,000. Give me your $2,000. Everyone's pitching in. All right, cool. And now we have the scene. And how long did that last? 3, maybe 4 hours for the night.
Stupidity.
And then and then it's done, right? But learning lessons definitely was a fun time, though. Like my guy Shia LaBeouf says, I had a good time.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are more life learning lessons?
Learning lessons, to kind of recap everything is obviously, work on yourself more than anything else. I mean, obviously we've all learned personal development. The analogy that I heard, and I used to say this for 15 years when we built the business together, was your brain's a computer. And the reality is your brain operates on an operating system. And some people are still operating on the super old operating system, like the DOS 3.0.
Yeah.
And if you want to be able to do things that you weren't able to do before, you need to upgrade your operating system. And how you upgrade your operating system is what you read, what you watch, what you listen to, seminars and mentors, is to reprogram your operating system to do things that you couldn't do in the past that are now happening easily in today's society. So is obviously work on yourself. Example, I still go listen to podcasts like we're on right now, and there are people a lot smarter than me. As soon as you think you know everything, it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And obviously do that. I still go to seminars, learn from people like you do. I go to networking events to find people that are smarter than me. And especially in today's, you asked me tools earlier, AI. I'm a big fan of using AI. I'm not the expert in AI in any way, but honey, I'm having a bit of a side relationship with ChatGPT, and I know she does too. She speaks to him, I think, probably more than I do.
Yeah.
But I think I use it in such a way where I ask it that I put certain ideas down, and I ask to help develop those ideas together. And they're not always right. I guess you guys know ChatGPT is not always right. They'll say wrong things a whole bunch of times. But I like to use it as a sounding board to help develop different ideas and things that I'm working on.
Yeah, me too. I use it as like an advisory board, right? So I got Tony Robbins on my advisory board. I created what's called the Strategic 7, right? So I got Tony Robbins. I have Alex Hormozy. I have a guy named Taki Moore who's brilliant. He dummies down everything with needing to be on social media without having to do all this influencer stuff that I absolutely hate. For those guys that don't know about this guy, check him out because if you're trying to create more content, but not feel the pressure of having to be everywhere at all times and omnipresent stuff, Taki Moore will change your life. He's amazing. But yeah, I think it's important. You need mentors and coaches. A few more questions before we wrap up, because I know we got to go. But who are some of the biggest mentors that you've had in your career? Biggest people that you've learned from?
Well, one of them is same as you. Was I definitely a big fan of Tony Robbins. The whole concept of CANI, constant and never improvement on a daily basis. Big fan of his. There's different books and so forth, but I'm a fan of The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Love that.
I love that book. I think it's a great book. If you haven't read it, read it. Okay. I'm obviously old school, big fan of Jim Rohn.
Yes.
Okay. The set of the sail and the different mindsets there. So I know a lot of the younger generation do not know who Jim Rohn is, but definitely go look him up on YouTube. And there's a whole bunch of audiobooks that you can get, audios of Jim Rohn. So those I would say, there's endless other ones, but those are some of the main ones for myself. Of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad, just the concept of being in the right quadrant and so forth. And those are some of my, I've always had mentors, my father and different other people, my mother and so forth. But in terms of things that are easily more accessible to the mainstream person is, the individuals that we just discussed, and always, and there's so many people that I don't know, like the person you just mentioned, I didn't have heard of that, so you'll definitely have to text me who that person
I'll
is.
send you that info for sure.
So
I think you would definitely, he's going to be aligned with a lot of.
So you guys realize, look, just one meeting here, one little thing he just gave me might be life changing for me forever on just one idea. And today's day and age, the important thing is network, get around people that are smarter than you. You never want to be the smartest guy in the room. That's for sure not.
Yep.
Okay. And just grow. Remember this: if you want to be in a different place, you need to be a different person.
If you want to be in a different place, you need to be a different person. I love that. That's great. One of the people that you put me on to almost 20 years ago now was Danny Johnson. Do you still?
Oh yeah, I know Danny.
Remember you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you introduced us to Danny Johnson. I remember we had just opened up our office that we had back then. Me, Max, and some other guys that weren't around too long after that. But, Max was leading the charge and all that stuff. And every single day we would wake up to show up to the office, and we're doing cold calling and prospecting and all of that. And this is where we actually learned to prospect. He would throw on Danny Johnson. Everyone needs to listen to this now. And we'd literally listen to an hour of that stuff.
She was an animal. Danny's an animal on the phone.
Animal, man. It was insane. But that became one of the single greatest skills that I carried on with me afterwards, because doing network marketing, you learn to deal with warm market and work through other people's warm market. But then when it came down to it, we would sign up people, we'd make them make their list of 100, and usually they'd leave with it. We would actually keep it as our uplines. And if they quit, I was calling up all their friends using the scripts that we learned from Danny, and that's literally how we would do it. We're calling their friends, hey, listen, your friend didn't quit or anything, but they said that you might be open.
Yeah, you are a go-getter, and he spoke really highly of you, and wanted to see if you want to help us in the expansion of our company in the marketplace. They refer us to you. Are you open?
Are you open?
Yeah.
And so there you go. There you have it. And it comes out naturally with you even when you're not trying. But people who learn to prospect on the phone, people who learn to deal with creating relationships out of thin air become the best communicators on the planet. Okay, great. So we have mentors from afar. Who has helped really make a huge impact on your career and business and mentality and who you are today?
I mean, we all have different mentors for the right season that you need to hear. I mean, my first mentor is my mother. Mom, Jeanette, I'm going to be seeing her next week, actually. She taught me to be caring, to be there for someone, that if you need, you need to be able to, you can count on someone to always be there, to be compassionate and be loving. So that's my mother. My father taught me, my dad's been a successful business person. And my dad, taught me different components to have the right mindset. And I also learned from things not to do for my father. My father, he was the most successful at the time. He was like the Blockbuster of Canada. We were the first video store chain in Canada.
Really?
Back in the day, it was called, for real. It was called Le Club Video.
Okay.
We were the biggest at the time in Montreal.
Yeah.
I think we had like 12 locations and so forth. And he made mistakes, and he could have been the global Blockbuster for Canada, but mistakes. Video talk. They learned different things from that. But definitely my father has taught me a lot, at least with the right mindset of being an entrepreneur. I would say some of my top mentors in direct sales, Larry Raskin. I think
Larry
we
Raskin, oh
both
my
know
God,
Larry, which
yeah.
I still speak to Larry
Do you? I still listen to his
regularly.
audios when he came down, and I would record him, and I still listen to that even still till today, 20 years later.
I spoke to Larry 4 days ago.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
really?
So I still speak to Larry because Larry and I are working on a project now together. Definitely learn a lot from him. He's got probably one of the best minds in the marketplace when it comes to direct sales and leadership as a whole. Definitely learn a lot from him. And I would say there's, example of my insurance business, definitely Sean Turcotte is a genius. Like, listen, he holds me accountable. We do a call once a week and he bitch slaps the shit out of me
That's
every
crazy.
single week. What'd you do this week? Seriously, straight up. But it's
Really?
good. I need it. I need it because he hits me. He's like, Nathan, you could be making $250,000 a month from your insurance business. And I'm like, I sometimes hear, oh yeah, And he's asking me, how many dealerships are we cold calling?
Yeah.
How many people am I sitting cold calling with my new people versus just them calling in different accountability? So, every successful person needs a coach.
That's right.
Right? Tiger Woods has a coach, and all the top players in every industry. Jordan had a coach. And
right.
so Sean is hands down one of the, someone I definitely, he's much younger than me, could be my son. Could he be my son? Yeah, he could be. It could be my son.
Yeah.
But when you build $100 million business, that's going to be a $500 million business. He's got something to teach me.
That's right.
I know, and he's gone through the challenges that I'm going through now in my current insurance business, and he's already foresight to prevent me from having those mistakes. That's where that mentorship component comes in.
I love that. Very good. Okay, so as we wrap up, if there was one thing, so our audience filled with striving entrepreneurs, business and sales professionals, people that are looking to become leaders in their field. Most of them are just focusing on trying to get to that six-figure mark, just starting off, although there are plenty of them that have built six-figure businesses and incomes and all that stuff. But what would be one piece of advice that you would give these people if they wanted to make 2026 their greatest year ever?
Well, first start by making a game plan. Know what you want, right? Do you want to make 100 grand this year? You want to make 500 grand this year? One is make a declaration that I'm going to accomplish this. It's funny, yesterday I told you I was at an event yesterday, and I wrote down 2 goals yesterday myself, saying end of 2026, this will happen. End of 2027, this will happen. And end of 2028, this will happen. Nothing becomes a possibility till a pen and paper hits something in writing that you believe, that you see and focus on a daily basis. So step 1 to anyone watching, make a goal, write it down, and tell everyone that this is your goal to help keep you accountable.
That's right.
To put your feet to the fire and burn the ships that you're moving forward in that direction. Step number 1. Number 2 is make a game plan. How are you going to go from point A to point B? Okay, what's the plan? Okay, is it every single day to make a little baby step forward towards your goals? Great. What are those steps? Who's going to help you take those steps? Are you missing the right mentor? Are you missing the coach to move you in the direction? Why do people hire you? Because you've coached people to have the success, because you've already had success in that space. Don't be shy to invest money to learn, to grow, to move you in the direction of where you want to go. So 1 is goal. Step 2 is what is the plan to move in that direction. 3 is obviously want to hang around successful people. Find someone of where you want to be. Hang with those people so you can learn what they're doing, their daily habits, so you become normalized. That becomes your normalized habit. Why was I making so much money in network marketing? It got to the point where it was just a normal routine, that it wasn't difficult, that I just knew I had to do this, and then it was subconscious. I didn't even have to think about it. It just became normal. That was part of the plan to move in that particular direction, okay? And the last couple things that I would say is don't be shy to get into networking events. That's something that, it's funny, you've heard me say this back in the ACN days. I tell people join a BNI networking group, and I had never done it. I'd visited BNI groups and stuff, but when I first launched my insurance business here in Toronto, I joined a BNI, and I got involved with that, and that definitely helped me get started in my business. I probably got a few hundred customers just from the BNI group.
Oh, that's great.
That I was involved with. And definitely, that's something that I would recommend to all of you. You're starting a brand new business or any sector you're in, definitely go visit a BNI chapter. Yes, there's an investment, but it's an investment to hold you accountable to growing from where you are today. And of course, commit to personal development. So just to recap, what do you want? Make a game plan, find a coach, keep feeding the mind and positivity in the direction you want to go, and have an accountability partner.
I love it, man. That's fantastic. But you guys need to write this down. This is the basic stuff that we learned that made the biggest difference for us back then, and it still applies today, 20 years later. That's fantastic. Okay, final question. Is there anything that I should be asking you that I haven't thought to ask you?
Well, I would say that, some people have been asking me what I've been doing lately.
Okay.
Okay, so twofold. There's a shameless plug. Okay, so first of all, in the insurance business, by the way, when someone's going to watch this, I know I'm going to get calls from people about doing insurance. Okay, so the pro and the con of my insurance business, only people in Ontario can do what I'm doing, because I get calls all the time. People from Miami are going to be calling me, I want to do insurance. I'm like, yeah, great. I appreciate that. But on the insurance business, only people that live in Ontario can do the insurance gig. But I just got involved, as we talked about, a global opportunity. You know that I've been approached by everything, and I've said no for almost everything. And for the first time, I'm more excited about a project it's a side project on the side. My main core business is insurance. Okay, it's my ride and die. But I got something that's a global opportunity where the timing is bigger than I believe than we had the timing in the ASEAN opportunity, where there's more impact that we can help people in a positive way. If you're looking for an opportunity to work with someone who is a multiple seven-figure earner that wants to be at the forefront of a ground floor opportunity that's just started in North America, I want to work with someone that knows where they're going with this and want to be at the beginning with a leader, give me a call, okay? You want to be part of the ground floor with the gold standard, hit me up so we can have a conversation to see if there's a fit for what I'm doing and launching.
I love that. Awesome. If someone wanted to get in contact with you, what would be the best way to do it?
Yeah, for sure, guys. If you want to hit me up, I'm on Facebook, Nathan Goldberg. On Instagram, I'm Gold Standard Mentor on Instagram. And you can also, if you want to send me an email, guys, it's pretty easy. goldbergnathan@hotmail.com. You can hit me up there.
We'll make sure to include it all in the show notes too.
Perfect.
So that'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure, brother.
Man, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to share some of your wisdom with us. I'm sure that everyone listening is going to be a lot better for it. In the future, for those of you guys that attend our Success Talks events that happen in South Florida, we plan on having Nathan come out. It's for entrepreneurs, business, sales professionals that really want to connect with like-minded people. You get a chance to showcase your business, and you get a chance to learn from global experts. Okay, so we're going to have Nathan come by. He'll be sharing some leadership traits and business skills and a bunch of stuff that if you learn and you start to apply is going to give you the opportunity to change your business, change your life forever. And so once again, thanks so much, Nate. I appreciate
Thank you, brother.
This has been
Guys, give a talk to
amazing.
this guy. This guy's an amazing coach and big fan, Karl. Big fan, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so until next time, guys, appreciate you guys for stopping by, listening in. If you found value, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you guys then. Take care.